So, can you please tell me some things that both sides need to do to strengthen the relationship?
Okay. First things first. If you're going to strengthen a relationship, you need to acknowledge, if you haven't already, that the relationship needs to be strengthened. The question becomes why? What needs to be strengthened? Why does it need to be strengthened? What happened? So you start with the first question. What needs to be strengthened? You can ask yourself, you can ask your person that you're in a relationship with, if you have that ability. Otherwise, the best person to ask, obviously, is yourself. Start by asking questions like, what is happening? Am I going in circles? Am I in a stale relationship? And am I in an emotionally unstable relationship? Am I sad on certain days? Am I angry on certain days? You need to find out if you're stuck, if you don't have a direction, perhaps, in the relationship. Where do you stand? If you need to strengthen something, the next question becomes why? What happened that caused you to be in that position? Relationships begin because they are healthy. Human beings form relationships around a healthy state to better themselves naturally. When you began the relationship, whether it was a family relationship, a friend relationship, a coworker, a personal relationship with a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a spouse, it began on a positive note. You need to find out at what point did that relationship begin to go in a different direction, which is the reason why it requires to be strengthened. When you can determine why it's there, okay, you can begin to work on it. So how do you determine why it happened, where it happened specifically? The trick is to look at something specific, and what you're looking at are your emotions. Your emotions are your triggers. They are what's telling you why you are off track, when you're going off track, when things are going right, when things are going wrong. If you are having an issue with direction, for example, you've been with somebody for a long period of time, you don't necessarily know where you're going to go, your emotions are going to trigger when you're with the person. When you're away from them, when you're at your job, when you're with your personal friends and family, it may not be on your mind, but when you're with that direct person, you feel as if you're lost. You don't know where to go. You get confused. You try to find other ways to pass your time. When you're with the person, you get more confused. That leads to other emotions such as anger, sadness, depression, fear, so on and so forth. Your emotions are your signals. They're what's going to help you understand where things went wrong, why things went wrong. From there, you can begin to backtrack. Once you find out where things went wrong, where you need your strengthening, okay? You've narrowed it down to, I have been going in circles in my life. I feel like I'm on a treadmill, going in repetitions. I'm not going anywhere, okay? Whatever you want to call it, whatever phrase you want to use, you feel like you're stuck. You've narrowed that down. You've narrowed down an emotion that maybe you're stuck at work, maybe you're stuck in home, maybe you're stuck with your children, maybe you're stuck with your spouse. Okay. Now you've got to narrow it down even farther. In order to fix it, okay, I'll use the metaphor of the tree. In order to fix the tree, it needs to heal. If you have a rotting tree, to heal the tree, you cut away the rot. You would cut it down to its initial stump, and you would let the tree re-heal. You, as a human, just like a tree, have memories. You have years and years and years of attachments in you. That has potentially led, and most likely did lead, to the reason why you need strengthening in your current relationship. Whether it's years of being with someone specific and now you're stuck, whether it's years of being in the same job and you don't have a direction with it, whether it's blank. Something led to it. So like a human, like a tree, if you can find the rotten part of the tree, you can find the rotten part of your life that needs strengthening, you can cut it down to its bare roots. Its bare roots are where it was positive, where it's growing, where it's healthy. Once it's there, the tree can regrow. You as a person can now begin to grow once again. The strengthening can begin. So how do you now strengthen yourself? The actual question itself. We know that if you're going to strengthen a relationship, you have to acknowledge that you need to strengthen. You got to find the root of the problem. cut it down to its bare roots. Now the tree needs to grow. You gotta water it, you gotta give it some sunlight, okay? Read to it if you're that type of person. You have to grow the tree. You gotta grow yourself. You gotta grow the relationship. You gotta strengthen it. So here are some tricks to do it. If you're doing it by yourself, or if you're doing it with another person, or if you're doing it with a group of people, regardless the system that's being applied to, the same concept applies. You need to acknowledge the healthy part of the relationship first and foremost. The best way to do that is to give gratitude to the relationship. Begin by being thankful for the healthy parts of the relationship. You can do it by writing in a book. Okay? You can do it by just saying it out loud. You can do it by thinking it in your head. Does not matter how it goes. Everybody has their own methods for applying it. What matters is the concept. When you acknowledge the healthy parts of the relationship, two things begin to happen. Your predominant thought now becomes a positive thought towards the relationship. The second part is that by acknowledging the past good parts, you're going to be more enticed, more active towards repeating those because you know that they make you happy. You're no longer swamped and swarmed with all the negativity going on in your day, the repetition of bad thought. You're now swarmed with the positive things that have happened in your relationship. The second thing is to have the ability to communicate without having the fear of communicating. If it's a relationship, for example, with a boyfriend and girlfriend, okay, the best way to communicate is to give the person the option to hear what you have to say, to think about it, and to reasonably communicate back with you. Now, if you've had issues with this in the past, maybe you can't talk face to face because of anger, because of past history, because of blank, okay? A great trick is what's called a communication box. It's literally a box for him and her, or her, or him and him, whatever. It's a relationship box, period. Each person has their own. Okay, it can work for as many people as there are. It can work for 2 people. It can work for 10 people or more. It works great in the workplace too. Okay? The concept to it is that you are able to write in this box, whether it's anonymous or not. Obviously it's not if there's 2 people. You write in the box what you're not able to say face to face. There are things that cannot be said face to face because of fear. This is the most common factor. Okay, fear of retaliation, person yelling at you, person challenging you, calling you out, not hearing a word you're saying. Okay, the communication box allows you to write things out and for that person to leave their response back in the box. And you continue in that process back and forth until you are both capable of speaking face to face. It could take 1 letter, it could take 30 letters. What matters is that you're capable of taking the time necessary to think about the response, think about it reasonably. If you need to talk to other people about it, if you have to, counselors or family, friends, anything. And then respond respectfully back to that person in private on your time. Not a face-to-face interaction. The rule of the box is that you can't talk about what's in the box. The box conversations stay in the box. That's the rule with the box. Okay? Until you're reasonably able to take it out and have it in front of you and talk. And then you have proof to back up your conversations because the person has written their version of it and you've written your version of it. Now you can strengthen that with that. You've written out what's on your mind and what's on your heart. Okay? There are many other ways to do this, and I can go on all day with different tactics. The point I'm getting at is you need to start by acknowledging that you need to strengthen the relationship, which means that there's a break point. Okay, just like the tree, it's rotting, the relationship's rotting, whatever it is, you need to find where it's rotting and cut it off at that point. The way you do that is by going back to when it was healthy. Thinking back to the time when the relationship was healthy, when there were good times. You'd start by doing the gratitude book. By writing out, I am happy that this happened in the relationship, this date, this event, this occurrence, this so on and so forth. I got the job, I got the girlfriend, I got the boyfriend, we went on a date, we met new friends, I got accepted to the college, university, or high school, anything. Okay? The point is you're accepting the past for where it was good, and then you're rebuilding it from the good point on, is what you're doing. From there, both sides of the relationship can grow, can build. The tree can resprout its roots, it can grow. You're watering it, you're giving it sunlight, it's gonna be healthy, and over the course of time, eventually, maybe whatever you want will happen with it. Okay, you can grow a couple more little trees when you pop up some kids if you decide to have some. Okay, and let their trees grow. Relationships are meant to be healthy. They start that way, they stale, they stagnant. It's because change occurs in people. People forget that change is needed. Relationships are a journey. The road doesn't have an end, and the two of you walking down it are going to stumble and fall. There are times where you're going to have to carry each other. Whether it's friends, it's family, it's loved ones, there are times that you're going to have to do that in a relationship. The point is that if you allow it to grow as it began, as a healthy little seed that's eventually going to grow into a giant acorn tree, you're going to understand along the way it's going to have its ups and downs, just like the rods that are going to occur. But nature has its way of healing the trees. Humans have a way of healing themselves. You can do it by understanding yourself. You can do it by understanding the relationship. You can do it by putting the effort in to rebuild it. And from there, you'll have a healthy relationship.
For an example of something I put in his gratitude book, whenever we order pizza, I will eat like 8 out of the 10 slices. And he hates pineapple, but we still order pineapple on the whole thing. And that's something I'm really grateful for.